Hello and welcome to today's real estate update. Taylor's back with us today, and we're going to talk about home evaluations, also known as a comparative market analysis or a broker price opinion. All means the same thing. So if you go to www.zachlilly.com and you click on free home evaluation, you're going to get something that looks like the report that we have in front of us. I'm going to go ahead and let Taylor ask some questions about CMAs because they're fairly new to her as well. And hopefully we can address any questions that you might have about how a home evaluation works. Taylor, what kind of question do you have for me right off the bat here?
Okay, why would you suggest a CMA to a seller, somebody's trying to sell their house, versus them just coming up with their own numbers?
Okay, that's a really great question. So a CMA is basically a scientific or an analytical look at what a property could sell for in today's market. We use past sales to determine a probable sale price. Generally, I like to give a range, but the way I like to think of it is like this. So I can I can list my house for whatever I want. You know, I could have a single wide trailer and list it for $1 million and nobody's stopping me. But what are the chances that it's going to ever sell at that price range? Slim to none. So a CMA really gives you an educated look at what a property could sell for. That's why it's good for sellers. On the other hand, it's also good for buyers, right? So this kind of helps buyers understand what to offer a house. So let's say that you see a house and you absolutely love it and it's priced at $190,000. Well, we do a comparative market analysis or a broker price opinion on that property you want to buy, and we can say, hey, look, you know, it's only worth about, we think it's only it would only sell for about $150,000 in today's market. So we can see that when properties are overpriced. We can also see when you're probably getting a good deal on a property. The only difference is the terms that we use versus an appraisal, right? So it seems like an appraisal, but it's different than an appraisal in that an appraiser typically is doing the valuation like an actual home valuation for the purposes of a lender, like a bank. So they say, here's what the property is worth on your books. And what we're doing is seeing what the fair market sale price of the property is. We're not really allowed to use the word value because that's what appraisers do. Is they give you the value of the property for terms of lending. That's a really long-winded answer to your question. But,
It's very in-depth, though.
yeah,
That's good.
so it's great for sellers to help determine the price that they should probably list their property for, and it's great for buyers when they're starting the offer process. That's the short version.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's very important. It's a
Yes.
good thing to have.
Do you have any other questions before we actually look at what a BPO or a CMA is? Okay.
Let's look.
So here's an example of one that I did several years ago at a property that we were looking at purchasing. And this is the same or very similar report that you would get if you requested that free home evaluation through the website. You're going to have all of my contact information on here. But this is the number that everybody cares about, so we put it on the second page. Like I said, I do a range. So 115,000 to 125,000, I'd be comfortable listing it in there. And I asked the client to choose the number, right? It could be 115, it could be 120, it could be 125. The reason I asked them to choose is because their motivation is different for selling, right? So if we've got some time and we're looking to maximize profits, 125,000. But if we need to be out of the house in 30 days because we got a new job offer somewhere across the country, then we might look at this lower end number here. This chart just tells you the comparables, what their listing prices look like. These are facts about the home that I'd like to verify before completing an evaluation. Sometimes if I can't physically see the property, then I just got to go off public record. But before we actually list a property, we'll verify all of these to be accurate. So it's important to know, you know, the number of bedrooms, total number of bathrooms, living area, year built. So these are all important things to know before we go ahead and start. When we choose, we're going to skip. These are just property information, tax, history of your property, maps, okay, flood zones. We're going to get into the actual market analysis portion of this. In a listing, whenever we're looking at a listing, we're looking at a lot more than just comparables. We're looking at tax history. We're looking at flood zones. We're looking at neighborhoods. So we're looking at a ton of information that would make this podcast, or this, not podcast, this video 2 hours long.
Yeah.
So this just shows you where our comparables are at and where our property falls, the subject property, your house, where it falls in relation to that range. These are the actual comparables we use. We try to get them as close as possible because location is the number one thing. You know, you always hear location, location, location. So this shows you where the comparables are in relation to the subject, your house, or the house that we're thinking about buying.
Yeah.
What's most important here is this price per square foot. Like, that's really what we're using to determine what it would sell for. We do make some adjustments, right? So you see these red numbers. That's where we've adjusted the price to reflect yours.
Okay.
And that's pretty much how it works. This goes into more detail about the comparables, so it shows like their specifics, what the sold price was, when it sold, and how much we've adjusted that price. But that's it. I mean, that's how a comparative market analysis works. You know, we go in to look at other active listings. Sorry, I'm going to go back to the front here. But active listings are something we use in marketing because we want to see, you know, what our competition is.
Yeah.
Right? So this is just gives us a ballpark, and then we take into consideration some other variables before listing a house. Can you think of any other reason? So we talked about buyers, somebody that wants to buy, somebody that wants to sell. Can you think of any other reason somebody would want a valuation?
If they're investing, if they're planning to invest.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. So you have investors, people that are actively looking to invest in properties, right? But here's something else to consider as well. All homeowners are investors. So if you own a home, even if it's the one you live in, you are an investor. So it's probably the biggest financial asset that you have. That is part of your net worth. I mean, that's part of your finances. And most people have no idea what their home is worth, you know, or you know what they could sell it for in today's market. So one of the things that I like to do is recommend that you do this quarterly. So let's say that you have no intentions of selling your house, but you can check all of your bank accounts, you can check your retirement accounts, you can check investment accounts all through an app. But you can't do that with a house. There's too much involved, and Zillow, you see that Zestimate, right? Yeah. Not accurate at all.
Yeah.
Tax value, not accurate at all. The market is constantly shifting, and an algorithm it doesn't know the difference between a property that's foreclosed. It doesn't know the difference between a nice property, a bad property. There's no consideration for a brick house versus a vinyl house. So there's a ton of stuff that an algorithm just can't gather because the information's not there. And that's why it takes a human person to put together that valuation.
My friend Zachary can do that for you.
You're going to be doing them soon.
I will.
But it's also, so that's why it's important for you as a homeowner to just know. I mean, it's good information to have, and it's a service that we provide for free, so it's not something that you have to pay for.
We love free.
Yes,
we love free.
We give stuff away a lot, and I think it's value, right? So as real estate professionals, we're not just here from the time you put a sign in the yard to the time it sells. Or from the time you start looking at houses online to the time you buy one. We're here for forever, you know, from start to finish. You purchase a property, and then we're going to help you manage that asset. You know, if you need somebody to help you repair it, you call us, and we'll give you some recommendations. So we're not just a 1 month relationship. It's an ongoing relationship between you and your real estate professional to help you understand, you know, what that asset is doing for you, whether it's appreciating or depreciating. It's all that adult fun stuff, right?
Which is really important to know.
Yes, it's
even
incredibly
if you don't
important.
plan on like selling your house, it's nice to just know.
Yep, you might have accidentally made an incredible investment just because you're looking to put a roof over your head, right? So that pretty much sums up comparative market analysis, and how it's good for buyers, sellers, and just homeowners in general. What else you got? You have any other questions before we wrap this thing up?
Nope.
Yeah,
No.
there's
That
pretty.
wraps it up.
Yeah, pretty basic concept, but it's really important one to know. So if you do have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out through Facebook, social media, cell phone, whatever. You can click on that free home evaluation on the website, and we'll get one of these done for you.
Do it. It's something good to know.
Exactly.
It's really good to know.
I hope everybody has a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.